Hello. Good evening, gentlemen. Is it audible, sir?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Now, the today's topic is 3.81 is already completed safety in boilers. Second one is 3.8.2, the safety precautions and operations of boiler. We will be discussing coming slides in two ways. One is safety precautions and the operations of the boiler. Detailed discussion will be there in the slides because it will be helpful for the examinations as well as the knowing the things who are not known about the boilers also. In that different types of boilers when not in use. When not in use means already told when they are in maintenance or waiting for the commissioning or waiting for the lay down procedures. For example, there is a strike is there. We have to keep the boilers very safely because the boiler quality tubes and plates to be and parts of the seam safety steam valve, pressure gauge valves, temperature gauge valves are maintain safety because how many days the strike will be taken we don't know. Immediately stoppage of the boilers means not in use. How to maintain with a systematic manner to save the boiler quality parts. Next one is preservation means we have to keep the boiler under pressure because the other sections are hello because other sections because, because other sections are not ready for taking the boiler steam pressure. That's why we have to keep the preservation of the boiler when not in use. What are the precautions to be taken care of and what are the hazards to be expected during the preservation also will be discussed. And the steam pressure and pressure gauge also various parts of the boilers will be given because the steam pressure is very important to maintain the water, steam pressure, condensate level, flue gas level, and keeping in view of the SP steam pressure, sending to the turbine, and the fuel burning is also very important. All to be balanced while running the boiler. That's why the first class boiler, second class boilers will be qualification is necessary for running the boilers. And apart from this, the steam treatment of feed water is also there. We'll be discussing the feed water. Two things. One is the boiler feed water. Another is boiler water is also there. We'll be discussing what is the difference between the boiler feed water and the boiler water in the coming slides. Maybe tomorrow and day after tomorrow. But these 2 days will be 3 days will be completed. All these sections. Definitely we'll be knowing the things about the safety. Now the safety precautions and operations of boiler is, the boiler safety involves regular maintenance, proper operation, adherence to the safety regulations and the procedures to prevent accidents, ensure efficient safety, efficient operations and protect personal equipment also. The one is regular maintenance and inspection. Second one is safe operating procedures. And third one is training and competency. And fourth one is boiler commissioning and testing. These are the four important areas with respect to safety precautions, with respect to the operations of the boiler. We have to consider the first regular maintenance and inspection. While running only, we have to take care of all these things. Routine checks, maintenance schedules, water quality, burner inspections, floor drains, and the ventilation is the first part comes under the regular maintenance and inspection because the routine checks to be taken care of with respect to the boiler for leaks, cracks, corrosion, and other damage also. for the routine checks is to be part of the parcel of the regular maintenance and inspection, because the anything is there in between the running or during the running, the boiler will explode. A lot of human loss, a lot of fatal things, a lot of what is called property damage is there, and they about the after the that means the public also will be become panic, and they are also affected if the boiler explode is there. That's why the safety precautions and operations is considered for the boiler is very important. That's why we have to keep in boiler is always intact with practice of good management practices by the management of and safety department. Second one is maintenance schedules to be established. Maintenance schedule that includes cleaning, inspection, and necessary repairs, because every part of the boiler is having should be a what we call the standby is there in the workshop of the boiler, because boiler is having dedicated workshop is there. Always the all the high skilled fitters will be there to take care of their parts immediately to change or anything repairs to come. That's why boiler operator is also either first class attendant or second class attendant has to immediately they have to pass before involving in the operation of the boiler. And the water quality is also important. Ensure water quality of feed water to prevent scaling, corrosion inside the boiler, because the water quality depending upon the raw water and the feed water will be prepared in the DM plant, that is demineralized plant. You have to see the raw water quality as well as the feed water quality, because the feed water quality depends upon the raw water quality which you have taken. That means we have to remove all the unwanted things which are uh, informed in the boiler manual. We have to maintain all the specifications regarding the feed water. We will discuss in the coming slides feed water specifications, and boiler feed water specifications also will be known to avoid the scaling, corrosion, and the pitting inside also. So therefore, the water quality is very important. This all comes under the regular maintenance inspections. And burner inspection is also very important, because I already told to charge up the boiler first to take care of the coal fired or the liquor fired or the what is called the firing of the fuel which are going to be used in the boiler. First of all, charging is important with the burners like LSHS, low stock, heavy stock, or low sulfur, heavy sulfur, or low stock, heavy stock. Like this, oil is there. Or with respect to furnace also will be used through burners. It will be first charged out to prevent any locks is there or clogs or any obstructions in the boiler tubes. It will be clear of first before starting the burning of the fuel. Therefore, burner inspection, that means burner O-rings, that means not to leakage of the oil from the inside of the boiler. And the nozzles also to be inspected to spray the what is called in the boiler furnace should be burner should be spray, because the thermal conductivity is important. Uh, that means the flow drains also important. Flow drains means when the cleaning is taken place, or the when the any leakage is there, or any cleaning will be taken or maintenance will be taken. The stagnated water should be not to be any stagnated in the boiler floors at least, because after the running of the boiler, we should not any uneven things to be disorder positions. We have to keep all the equipments in tight, all the equipments in place, all the tools and tackles in overall, and see that the floor should be clean, and see that the all water should be drained properly. There is no proper, there is no chance to give the accumulation of the water in the floors. That's why the floor drains to be checked for any damages are blocked with any foreign materials and all, because after shutdown only the boilers will be running, normally in the organizations. Check the flow drains for proper functions to prevent water damage, maintain safe environment is also very important. And the ventilation is also very important. Of course, you have a monkey shades are there for the various boilers with the asbestos, the sheets and all. Definitely, ventilation is properly is there for all the boilers in all the organization. But within the boiler floors, the sunlight is not falling fully on four sides of the openings, but in the floor operation of the boiler, you have to see that ventilation and lighting is very properly maintained to see the operating panel recordings, gauge glass level, steam wall, butter, that means is drum levels, steam drum as well as mud drum levels. You have to see that all the things in intact. If the ventilation is not proper, definitely the operator will become a uneven things, or he will become a fatigue, he will become a tired, and not to be seen clearly in the ink chart. That means ink chart means boiler parts and all in the boiler operating room. The ventilation, proper ventilation is there as per the Practice Act. As I already told, air changes per hour will be there to see that the relative humidity will not be more, and see that the proper ventilation is there. Ensure proper ventilation to prevent the buildup flammable gases and ensure safe one. Because of the one side is the burner use is there, and another thing is fuel real burning is also there. One side is fuel going to furnace level to the boiler level economizers, and through the ESPs and the through stacks, there any leakage is there, definitely operating floor will be accumulated with the flue gases and all. That's why proper ventilation to be provided in the boiler floors. These are the comes under the regular maintenance inspection. First part with respect to the safety precautions during the operation of the boilers. The safe operating procedure is also important because normally in all organizations in the boiler force they have a startup and shutdown procedures display in the board with written with the regional languages as per the Factories Act. Therefore, the safe operating procedure also second precautions of the safety with respect to operation of the boiler. Startup and shutdown, management, pressure control, combustion controls, flame safeguard, emergency preparedness, and the training is also important, comes under the safe operating procedure. They follow proper startup and shutdown procedure to prevent thermal shocks, ensure safe operation. Thermal shocks, you know that there is no accumulation in the boiler tube, boiler tube, boiler tubes, or in the steam walls, or in the pressure gauges. If there is an accumulation with the flue gases, with the steam, condensate and on, the readings of the pressure gauge, readings of the temperature, and they will not be sufficient to observe or pulse the condition of the boiler. That's why we avoid the thermal shocks is there, any temperature differences. There is no should not be airlock in the tubes. It is very important. That's why we follow proper startup and shutdown procedures and see that the blow down procedures and load management should be taken care of. Load management, never overload the boiler to ensure it operates within the design capacity. Suppose, because, for example, if you take the coal-fired burner or the liquor-fired burner, you have to see that how much capacity is designed capacity, working pressure capacity, we have to see. As per the design only, we have to see the working pressure to be maintained, and overload the boiler is not any time is advisable, not in a normal time, not a requirement of the steam and all the, because some organizations are feeding the boiler up to the design temperature, design working pressure also. No, only design is different, manufacture is different, and working is different. Design means for manufacturing. we cannot go for the design manufacturing. We have to show only operating pressures and operating of the boiler up to, suppose the boiler is low. Sorry, some disturbance is there from participants. I'm sorry, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Therefore, the load management is very important to load the fuel and not to overload up to the optimum. 100 tons means 98 tons and 100 tons should be there, but design capacity is 1 ton. Don't go for the design capacity always. The pressure controls is maintain proper pressure control, pressure levels with respect to water, with respect to steam, with respect to steam, with respect to condensate, with respect to boiler feed water. All these things will be taken care of with respect to the pressure relief valves, and to take the any locks are there, any air locks are there should be cleared through boiler blow down, and the boiler leaks also will be controlled to take care of the pressure gauge controls and all these things. The another thing is combustion controls. That means what is the fuel if you are using either coal or the liquid or the any liquor to fire. That means we have to maintain the combustion levels. That means what is the combustion levels of the fuel. Should know about the MSDS. Through the MSDS, you have to maintain the air for the combustion of the fuel to get the optimum pressure of steam, optimum quantity of the steam, optimum quantity of the condensate will be very, very important to the taken care of the by combustion control. That means through air, what you are going to supply through the FD air. That means the force to draft air through the primary airports, secondary airports, and tertiary airports to control the combustion controls. Therefore, you will get the optimum results for the requirements to be results in the boiler. For example, we have to see that ensure combustion controls functioning correctly are responsive to safety signals. And also, we have to see that proper consumption control means we have to see that the thermal conductivity, calorific value of the fuel is also will be taken into consideration before supplying the air through the primary and secondary and tertiary airs. Therefore, the correct steam and required steam will be getting, and proper the flue gas vent will not be, unwanted gases will be going. Therefore, the sender, if the coal is having, we will be having lot of what is called the quality ash will come because the combustion controls will be in position. Flame safeguard is also very important. That means the burner flames. We have to see that the nozzles and the leakage of the boilers. Leakage of the boilers means burners will be in good condition. We have to see that proper flame should be gone, and the proper flame of the fuel will be seen through the side glass of the boiler. Therefore, due to that, any flame is not good means we have to adjust the air for the proper consumption. If you see for example, if you see in our kitchen, the boiler, the stove, the gas stove is there. If you get the any what we call the yellow color flame without any blue is there, that means boiler gas is going to be already exhausted. And also the second reason is also there, though the gas is full cylinder, because the holes is not clear, the path is not clear, that's why we will get the yellow flame instead of blue flame. Blue flame is always allowable for the thermal conductivity, for getting the calorific value properly, and the gas consumption of the quantity is also optimum. That's why the flame safeguard is also very important while supplying the air in the furnace through the primary, secondary, and tertiary airports. Emergency preparedness, not only the startup shutdown procedures, emergency procedure in normal points will be written in the display board with the Asian languages, so that immediately they should know if any leakage is there, what should be done, what steps to be taken with respect to the boiler shut on boiler, what is called the breakdown to be taken immediately, and shut off the what we call the fuel supply, and slowly we have to reduce the burners, slowly we have to reduce the air. Suddenly we cannot stop like a gas stove burners like this, but industrial boilers will keep the slowly getting down, slowly we will getting the step by step operating, otherwise it will be affected the explosions. That's why the emergency preparedness is very, very important. In such failures are there, if anything is there. Not only the evacuation of the people, but also will taken care of the boiler safety first. That is the first duty of the first class attendant boiler. We have to first to save the boiler, and then they go to the human, because if you save the boiler, definitely human damage is also less, and the working environment is also very, very less damage. If it doesn't control, immediately run away from the boiler, that means a lot of damage along with the property damage also, and human loss will be there. That's why we have to see very important area of emergency preparedness. We have to display in the board. Immediately the operator should know about this. Draining is also discussed, and they follow proper procedures for draining a boiler, especially before repairs and maintenance, because all the once the shutdown is taken, because a lot of what is called water to be taken care of in the boiler. Again, before taking the feed water, we have to see that properly drained in all tubes, furnace tubes, boiler tubes, economizer tubes, and all the what is called the tubes and equipments, and any accumulation will not be there with air as well as water will be seen, and proper draining should be there before starting to be of the boiler will be taken care of. This is second level operating procedures. Thirdly, is training and competence is very important, because always the first class attendant, he has to pass the first class attendant boiler certificate holder only will run the boiler, ensure operator training, emergency procedures. He is well aware of the emergency procedures of the total boiler crew, where the boiler operator is there, suit bay attendant is there, the steam wall maintenance is there. A lot of operators are there, in the spout control is there, primary control is the total 5 to 6 operators are there, apart from the workers of the cleaning of the ports. But all the boiler crew should be taken care of training with respect to the safe operating procedures. Ensure boiler operators are properly trained in safe operating procedures and emergency protocols also. Protocols you well aware that whom do we have first report to the if any uneven things are there, and then by sequence of the information to be given for the various management levels if anything uneven things will be there during the emergency. Emergency procedure also I told it should be displayed as some steps during the emergency shutdown, including shutdown, evacuation, and first aid methods also. You have to see that it should be displayed what is to be done by the boiler crew when the things are not in control. Therefore, failure of operations with emergency procedures, including shutdown, evacuation, and the first aid things also be taken care of during the emergency procedures. The boiler commission and testing is also very important. It's a part of parcel of the installation of the boiler. Of course, the commissioning in the sense of what is called once the boiler inspector is tested, is already given certification, then immediately we have to run the boiler with the design pressure or working pressure. At that time, we have to see that it should be run okay. But while a new boiler is there, when the commissioning is taken place and testing to be done, that is the steps to be taken care of in this operating level of the boiler. Combustion, that is commissioning, evaporation testing, and the combustion analysis also we have to see that before commissioning of the boiler or before taking into range, boiler range and all. The ensure boiler range means taking into the steam, sending to the turbine. And the ensure boiler is properly commissioned and tested to ensure it operates safely and efficiently. One is commissioning, we have to see that evaporation test, we have to important, perform evaporation test to ensure the boiler is operating safely and efficiently, because we have to see that if the qualified boiler is there, we have to see the condition of the ash through the ESPs coming out. That ESP dust will not have any unburned carbon, will not have any cinder quality. We have to see that quality of the coal is also important. Whether we have to use the imported coal or indigenous coal, that is immaterial. But as per the boiler manual, we know the how much cinder has to come in the ash, how much what is called unburned carbon has to come in the ash. We'll know through the specifications of the operation of the boiler manual. At that time, we have to perform the all the test procedures before the commissioning of the boiler. And we have to analysis also to be taken care of, all the feed water analysis, condensate analysis, and the coal analysis, ash analysis, cinder analysis, and the condensate analysis. We have to see all these things before taking into full commissioning of the boiler. Means the steam and the product will be sending to the turbine to get the power, as well as the MP steam and the HP steam and condensate and LP steam is also there. Normally, the boiler safety checklist is also there, already known by everyone. The general safety and water level and quality, boiler controls and instruments, the burner and fuel. I'm sorry, this is fuel, not a flue. Fuel, this spelling mistake, I'm sorry. Another thing, maintenance. Of course, these are the things, again, boiler safety checklist is consisting of. General safety, again, is coming. Regular inspection, visual inspection. Environment is also very important, because regular inspection we already discussed about in the top only. In the top, what is called regular inspections. Apart from this, these are the things where we need to check the conduct daily, weekly, and annual inspections as per manufacturer recommendations, local regulations. These are the boiler safety checklist points. Apart from the during running, what the manual said important is there. Therefore, the visual inspection is also important. Check any signs of damage, leaks, fuel, water, steam, all the things. Any leakage is there with respect to corrosion, loose connections are there. We have to see always visual inspection. We have to immediately address the any leakage is there. Such leakage is there with respect to fuel, water, and steam. The environment is also important. Ensure boiler room is clean, well ventilated, and free obstruction. Because boiler room, in the sense where the operating, all the parameters will be seen by the boiler operator, the running operators. The room should be very clean, and it should be very not to be very untidy. It should be very tidy and clean, and should be well ventilated, so that the no obstructions will be taken care of, so that the operation crew will be properly examined and properly taken steps during the uneven things, if anything happened. That's why boiler room is very important, taken care of. Emergency procedures are already discussed. And the personal protective equipment, of course, this is the first, most important and last resort of the people safety. Always wear appropriate PPE when working around the boilers, including safety glasses, gloves, and closed toe shoes, because they is always running with all hot conditions like steam, condensate, boiler feed water, and all. And the second one is, once the general safety is over, This water level and quality is also important, because already told that feed water quality is very, very important. Of course, raw water quality is making treated in the DM water, in the DM mineralizer plant. There, the feed water will be sending to this boiler to avoid the corrosion and all. That's why water level is important. Water level with respect to the steam drum and the mud drum levels is also very important, to see that water level should be a 50% in the steam drum. Steam is 50%, water is hot water is the what we call the 50%, and the mud drum is already feed water is 50%, and the going to be water to the feed water is 50%. Like this, we have to maintain water level in two drums, steam drums as well as the mud drums, through the gauge glass, through the automatic valves is there, which is very important. And the blowdown is also to know the quality of the feed water, the blowdown qualities to maintain, to avoid what is called the any sediments, any clogs, any what is called the unwanted foreign particles are there in the tube. You have to see that also during the blowdown. That is why water level and quality is important. Water level and quality is important. Regular check and maintain water level within safe operating level range. Water quality, that means ensure proper water treatment to prevent scaling and corrosion. Because once the pre-water quality is not good, it's very unfortunate things in the boiler quality. Tubes will be damaged and thereby explosion will be taken care of if not observed properly through the visual inspections. Low water cutoff is also very important. When the water level is not 50%, verify the water level cutoff is functioning correctly, and that burner shut offs when water is level are low. Suppose water level is low means, that means properly steam is not going to the drums. That's why we have to see that burner shut off when water level is low. 50% water level, 50% steam is there in the steam drums. The water level is low, immediately we have to stop the burner, or the burner is not there. The combustion rate is to be reduced, and see that the through the gauge glass you have to see that the steam drum levels is 50%. It's very, very important. Low water cutoff. And blowdown is also important. Hourly or 2 hourly we'll take the blowdown uh, feed water. That means to perform regular blowdown to remove sediments and maintain water quality, to avoid the corrosion and the scaling in the pitting or in the boiler tube. That's why the blowdown is always tells or pulses the condition of the boiler inside the tubes, how the feed water contents is there, how the corrosion, erosion, the pittings will be there by knowing the testing of the blowdown quantity of water. That's why the boiler lab is very important to check the boiler blowdown specifications also. And feed water, of course, the last item is there in the coming slides tomorrow. We'll discuss about the boiler feed water also, how much to be specifications to be maintained for the optimum, the boiler quality of the plates, the boiler quality of the tubes to be maintained. And the boiler controls and instruments is also very important. But of course, they already this is a boiler. All instruments is there, pressure gauge, temperature gauges, and the various instruments to go to the feed water level, temperature, and the pressure for the burner flame. All these things to be sight glasses as well as the instruments also will be properly checked. If it is giving the wrong indication, definitely it gives the very, very abnormal positions, and even go into the taken care of the what we call emergency shutdown. And sometimes emergency shutdown is also not controlled. Therefore, exposure will be taken care of if you not properly maintain the instruments, calibration part and checking part. Therefore, the safety valves, pressure gauges, temperature gauges, flame detection system, Operating limit controls, interlock controls are very important. These are the third one. Safety valves. Ensure safety valves are functioning correctly and are set to correct pressure, because what is the working pressure, that pressure should be set to the all the gauge glasses and the steam rod and steam safety valve also will be operating with that pressure only. Very important safety valves. We have to see that before taking care of the running of the boiler, we have to see the set the designed or working steam pressure, so that the on the basis of that the steam safety valve will be functioning. Safety valve is the one of the very important area to be taken care of with respect to boiler pressure or with respect to boiler running. Pressure gauge is also very analog pressure is there. Digital pressure gauge is there. We'll be discussing in coming slides also. There is a topic of this pressure gauges and other gauges also there. Regularly check and calibrate pressure gauges, important. Not only pressure gauges, but also the temperature gauges. Level indicators also very important to take care of. All flow control measures also very important. Flow control means fuel control,